Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Belle. I'll be presenting Understanding Illinois Local Government Finance Report and Budget Ordinances. So, why does transparency matters in the context of budget reporting and financial reports? Well, for the first and foremost thing is that at our nation's founding, government transparency has been central for how a democracy works in this country. And so, without transparency, how can the public know what is going on at a government or local municipality level? One of the biggest significant aspects of transparency are really within three categories: government accountability, corruption prevention, and creating informed citizens. So, what's inside of an annual financial report and budget ordinance? They're comprised of about three sections: introductory, financial, and statistical. In the introductory, it goes over just an overview of what was spent for that particular year within that municipality. The financial aspect of it goes over the specific numbers and the values associated with them. And the statistical portion of it goes over trends and specific graphs to show how the numbers fluctuate year by year. On the flip end, for the types of activities, it can be governmental activities, it can be business type of activities, and fiduciary activities. Governmental activities are really comprised behind taxing or grant-funded services that the government provides to its citizens. Business type of activities are comprised within fee-funded activities like running a business, or fiduciary, where assets for the municipality may be held in a trust. Those assets could be for government employees and their pension funds. And for classifying the types of spending, there's really two ways to classify it. On the one end, it's function. And so functional spending would be what the money was being used for. So for public safety purposes, streets and sanitation. Object spending can be things for what the type of item that the government has purchased. So it could be salaries, it could be equipment, like new police cars or firefighter trucks or different utilities that the government provides to its citizens within the area. So money in, money out. This model is copy and paste along the lines of a lot of financial and budget ordinances. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of the time these budget ordinances are going to be comprised of revenue and then expenses. And so on the revenue side of things, that's just money that is coming into the government that they're making either through the form of taxes like property taxes, sales tax, or income taxes, fees or charges for services, and different types of grants. For operating expenses, it could be a recurring cost to run the municipality day-to-day operations. So their utilities and maintenance for certain facilities, staff and personnel, and then ongoing services. And then capital expenses will be the one-time purchases that shape the municipality's future, like road upgrades, creating new sidewalks, new railroads, community improvement projects, or service vehicles like police officer cars or streetlights. So every dollar is really going to show up in the fund, whether it be through the governmental fund bucket, the proprietary fund bucket, or the fiduciary fund bucket. Under the governmental fund bucket, this is simply just a general fund. It could be a special revenue fund. It could also be a capital project fund. These are things that the government is funds that they're dedicating towards either specific projects or specific improvements that the government is seeking to make. Proprietary funds are going to cover services that run like businesses or that charge fees. So, for example, like an enterprise fund, where that could be funds dedicated to improving a waterway system within the community or improving the sewage line. And for fiduciary funds, these are just assets that the municipality holds and trusts for others. So, and hence why it's called fiduciary. One example I would like to use is for governmental employees when they retire, the local municipality will hold those salaries or that money within a fiduciary fund. And when that employee retires, then those funds will be dispersed accordingly. So, step one is classifying if the report is either opaque or transparent. For a report to be considered transparent, it's easy to find. It's posted on the municipality's website. It's readily available, or you can go to like the municipality's library, and it's easy to find there. If it's opaque, then that means the report is a little bit harder to find, where it could be presented in ways that obscures the municipality's true financial situation or condition, or it's just not findable at all, whether on the website, whether in a library, or in other places where one would be able to find a financial report or budget ordinance. Step two, the alternative ways to finding the financial report or the budget ordinance. For the financial report, every municipality must file audits, AFRs, and TIF reports with the comptroller. And so all those filings will sit within the local government warehouse. And then within the local government's warehouse database, they have built-in tools that you can use to compare the local municipality's spending across year over year. For the budget ordinance side of things, the budget and appropriation ordinance are filed within the county clerk's office, and the filing is due within 30 days of the adoption of the ordinance. And it must include a certified revenue estimate from the fiscal officer within that municipality. So, what happens on the flip side of things if the municipality doesn't file? Well, the county clerk can withhold the tax levy extension until the budget is filed. So that means that the taxing district, the municipality, the school district, park district, fire department, etc., cannot collect property taxes from local residences. Step three, you can file a Freedom of Information Act request. So in the moment where you're looking and you can't find the budget ordinance or you can't find the financial report, one great way is to file a Freedom of Information Act request, requesting that information, and seeing if you can get it through that pipeline. And so the best way that I would like to go about uh, enacting or requesting a FOIA request would be researching first. So you can check muckrock.com for similar requests of other people that have made several FOIA requests in the past, and you can see if your specific request has been already made by someone else. And you can also see how the government has responded to those individuals who've made similar requests to yours. After researching, you find that no one has made a similar request to yours, or that your request is very specific to a certain thing, then you can write your request out. And my advice is to write it out like a statement, not a question. So, for example, I am requesting copies of the municipality's annual budget, detailed check registers, and revenue reports from 2025 or 2024 calendar year. And then you'll submit it. And you can submit it through foia.gov, or directly with your local agency's FOIA office. So for Illinois residences, specifically in Cook County, there is a specific local agency FOIA office that you can make requests to. And your request should get a response within 5 business days. Step three. So you can get a 5-day deadline extension that can stretch up to 5 more additional days if the agency cites some type of specific legal reasons why they can't get the request to you within that time frame. Um, if the agency misses the deadline entirely, or whatever it can, or if they don't respond or if they ignore it, then that will count as an automatic denial. And the agency also loses its right to charge copying fees in the future, if that was to be remediated. And then as of January 2026, email requests must be written in the body of the email itself. Attachments and hyperlinks alone will not count as a official FOIA request. If your request is denied, then you can appeal to the public access counselor or the PAC. So, number one, it's your request is either denied, it's missed, or ignored. Then we'll move to step two, and then you will file what's called you can file a appeal with the public access counselor with the Attorney General's office. And from that point on, the public access counselor will then begin investigating the municipality and compel the release of the hidden record if they view those records should have been shared with you through that request in the beginning. You do have 60 calendar days to file. So you have 60 days to file from the date of the denial to submit a formal request for review with the PAC. And the PAC does have the authority to investigate the municipality and compel it to release any and all improper withheld records. And at the right-hand corner will be the information for the public access calendar with the Illinois Attorney General's office. That's their email and phone number. So, knowing the difference between both is really important. On the left would be the financial report, and it's required by Illinois law that every municipality reports annually to the Illinois Comptroller's government warehouse database. Does not include the municipality's actual operating budget or appropriation ordinances. And it lets residents review past financial outcomes and the type of spending. On the other end, for the municipality's budget ordinance, it is required by Illinois law that the adopted budget and appropriation ordinance is filed with the county clerk's office. The municipal budget reporting carries its own separate annual duties and deadlines, and those annual duty requirements are published by the Illinois Municipal League every single year. So to see it in action and to see how these numbers play out, here is an example from the city of Elmhurst. This is just part of their general fund. This is under their budget ordinance. And you will have an actual. So the actual is the finalized and confirmed amount for what was spent and for what the city received as revenue. And then on the budget side is the approved plan for that entire year. And an estimated would be a revised projection before the year ends. So sometimes municipalities will come out with an estimated budget at the time that the ordinance is adopted, and then they'll do it again around 6 months later, or they'll do it once a year. And then the proposed side of things would be the just recommended amount. So it's not yet finalized, but it's recommended for what's to come in the year for the next year. And at the bottom here, in blue is the total revenues, and then in yellow is the total expenditures. So in blue, you can obviously see that the city of Elmhurst has made from across certain years, has made less money than they have when it comes to spending it out. What that means is that they spent more money doing certain services or projects than they have received it either through the form of taxes or other grants or funds. So where does the municipality revenue come from? For a lot of municipalities, this does not count for all, but for a lot, 80% of their revenue will typically come from the property taxes, especially in the example prior. And 20% will come from other local, state, and federal sources combined. Those federal sources, for example, could be a grant for a highway sanitation or for a sewer pipeline program that the federal government is dispersing to local municipalities across the nation. And that will come as through a form of a grant. And every municipality is different, though. So a home rule authority, local economy, and available state or federal grants all shift this mix, and it happens year over year. So where to find it? So some key resources could be you can start local, and starting local could mean finding the municipality's official website that you're looking for, contacting the city clerk's office or the financial department, or going down to City Hall or a public library to get a hold of some of these records that you may be looking for. If that doesn't work, then you can go to the state. And in Illinois, it could be the Illinois Comptroller's Local Government Warehouse, which will hold all of the municipalities' annual financial reports. And then you can also check the Illinois Municipal League to see if any laws have changed as far as reporting requirements. And you can check with the county clerk's office, which should have certain records. If not, then you can also make the FOIA request through that pipeline as well. And if you hit a wall by starting local and going to the state, then I recommend going to the FOIA.gov website and creating a request. You can also go to muckrock.com to make sure that you can check what kind of request that you're about to make and to see if anybody else has made a similar request in the past. And then checking the Better Government Association, which will give you a step-by-step guide on how to make these types of requests for financial reports or budget ordinances. And here are some QR codes on the left. This is a QR code for the public access counselor's website. It will take you directly to the for filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office. And then on the right-hand side is the FOIA request portal, and that'll take you straight to the making a request portal or the request portal through FOIA to make those requests as far as seeing the financial reports or budget ordinances. And that's it. I just want to say thank you and have a nice day.